we're on the first news story, which is the Spectrum News large study strengthens link between autism and preterm birth. And I just introduced it.
Surprised me because I have had many friends that have had premature children that have children on the autism spectrum, and I've long suspected this from my own evidence with this.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've heard this story in a lot of different iterations. What's different in this particular study and article is that I think we're really drilling down and honing in on what the moment is, and that it seems that I believe that the article says that it's anybody born before the 37th week of gestation is at a significantly higher risk for autism. Yes. That's the first time I've heard it that specifically. How about you, Nancy?
It's the first time I've heard it that specifically too. And this is the largest scale study that's ever been done on this. So they went to great lengths to get this information. Yes. And one of the things that I've often wondered, well, they're saying, first of all, that it's roughly 30% have a higher chance of having autism than those born full term. And I don't know, Shannon, have you ever heard whether they've done a study on in vitro and autism? Because that's one I'd be interested to see as well, because a lot of premature births are from in vitro.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly have heard that anecdotally, but I'm not aware of a study. We should let our research team know that that's something we'd be interested in.
Yes, I'd be interested in that.
Because I think that that's an interesting thing. Mm-hmm. What I love about this and saying that, look, 30% higher risk before the 37th week, I think that will resonate with a lot of people in a lot of different ways, so that people listen. We've all been aware of people who decide that they're going to have I think doctors try not to have this happen, but there are people who decide that they're pregnant and they're done with it. And they, there's always been this thing about if you've gotten to the 35th week that it's relatively, lower risks if you do a scheduled C-section. In fact, doctors don't want you to wait for a scheduled C-section all the way to the 40th week, but knowing that you don't really want to do it before the 37th week because there are some risk factors. But there are times when a baby, of course, has to be born with before the 37th week. And if that's the case, then that child should receive additional screening to catch it early so that we can do early intervention and perhaps help them so that they don't get further behind than they might have otherwise. So I thought that was a really strong takeaway. Because me, a lot of times these studies, I'm like, yes, and duh. But now having that information, it always used to be that, you wanted to get past a certain week because of this development, and you wanted to get past a certain week because of the lungs, and you wanted to get past another gate. Well, now we have one more piece of information that we know it's best to make it to past the 37th week because you have a higher risk for autism. So I'm deeply appreciative. But people can check that out at Spectrum News, spectrumnews.org.